meat and curry, I'm your man. Cause how we all lose it is a mystery. It's like the changing of our wardrobes from a dire history. But it's the one making us not stop. 50 kilograms is all we've got to drop. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Hello everyone, welcome to this week's 50kg Drop podcast. This week we are continuing on from last week's episode with Jonty and Bob and Coach Mike to just Jonty's story. So today we've got with us Jonty Craven and Mike Collins. Over to you guys.
Ian, thank you so much. So, a couple of questions. Or let me just do it this way. Let me have you tell the story, okay? And the story is, I want you to go back as far as you can remember when you started discovering and liking sugar products. So I want you to, whether you were stealing it or finding it or hoarding it or, sneaking it, you could be like earliest memory, 5, 6 years old, whatever. And then I want you to tell the story of your weight and your health and your drinking and your addictions all the way to the present. And I'll interrupt a little, but mostly this is going to be your story, how you found and started to like sugar products.
Yeah, I'd say like most children in the UK anyway, that was like my highlight of the week. Like I got pocket money and you used to go to the shop and buy sweets once a week. That was what my parents allowed me to do, and that was the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would compare to, I think maybe other families maybe would allow more than that, but I came from quite a poor family, so maybe it wasn't them trying to caring more about my health, maybe caring more about saving money. But yeah, one part story in particular that sort of makes sense to tell in relation to sort of wanting sugary sweets. So I actually lived up in like up in the countryside. The shop was a good 50-minute walk, and one of my parents would normally drive us. My brother and sister as well, but there were the odd occasion when they were busy or said that they didn't have time to take us to the shop. And yeah, we'd walk. We wanted sweets that bad.
Yeah.
We would walk 50 minutes to buy sweets and then walk 50 minutes back up a hill. Yeah.
Yep.
Like that was what we lived for.
How old were you, remember?
Primary school, which is like in between 6 and 11.
Wow.
And I remember all three of us did walk. So all three of us were those age.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, when we went to secondary school, it was a bit more, you had a bit more freedom, you had sort of more money. But then it was a choice of spending the money on sweets or sort of clothes, things like that. So, yeah, I wasn't that bad at secondary school. I remember a lot of people would be eating a lot of sweets. But so I went to boarding school where we had food provided for free as part of the service. There was also like a kitchen in the boarding house where you could have extra food if you wanted, like toast and jam and chocolate spread, things like that. So rather than spend money, I was more likely to go to that station. I wasn't as bad as some people. There was one guy that I remember actually lived off jam sandwiches. He didn't go to any meals, and then he ended up with like a serious. The school didn't know because they didn't have a way of tracking who was eating what. And he ended up like with, I think, white blood cell deficiency and seriously ill because he ate nothing but jam sandwiches for months and got ill. But yeah, so there was. I wasn't as bad as some people, but I'd have quite a lot of jam on toast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment that's relevant in relation to sugar. In terms of my story around my weight, alcohol, I'd say at school I was sort of slightly overweight. I wasn't one of the proper fat kids. I wasn't super skinny either, but I was in better shape than I've ever been since I've left school. That's for sure. Yeah, but again, I mean, I was at boarding school, right? So there was only so much you could eat. They put the food. You only allowed one meal. You allowed that. You can go back for more if there's any left. But yeah, if you kept going up and getting more and more and more, they'd say no. But yeah, as soon as I was in control of my own money, in control of what I was eating, so that's when I went to university at the age of 18. Yeah, that's when I got fat.
Okay.
I'm 36 now, so it was a long time ago, so I can't fully remember. Yeah, I'd say pretty much instantly, instantly, like sort of within months of being in control of what I ate myself.
How much you
I
gain in the short
gained
period of
serious weight.
time? How much of a gain in the short period of time, and like from
Probably
the
going from 16 stone up to about 18. Yeah, so kilos, sort of
okay.
just over 100 to sort of 115-ish.
Okay.
I'm guessing. This is the estimates. And that's also a time where you're drinking heavily, first year of university, so it's in line with that as well. But yeah, I sort of stayed around that weight. I mean, you're still, although you're in control of what you eat and you've got your own money, you're a student, right? So you've not got loads of money. You prioritize alcohol over food. So I was eating unhealthy food, but from the supermarkets. But then when I got my first real job, sort of salaried job where I was getting a good amount of money, that was when I started working with Ian 11 years ago now. I'd actually lost weight before that because I spent the summer working abroad, in like a holiday destination, selling tickets. So I was walking around a lot, drinking a lot, not eating a lot, in the heat. So I was actually at a low point of weight at that point.
Right.
Not by Wasn't a deliberate diet, it was an accidental diet of,
Sure.
strangely enough, it worked.
Yeah.
Not sure how I was in the calorie deficit because I was drinking pretty much every day. But
Right.
either way, I think I was 14. I know for a fact I was 14 stone when I came back from that holiday. I got back up to about 16 stone before I joined the company with Ian. But then, yeah, that first year of working with Ian, when I was earning the most money I'd ever earned, I was still living at home, so I didn't have any rent. So then it was like, yeah, I can blow 20 quid on a pizza and not like and not really care that I'm spending that money. So
Right.
that was when I really, really ate.
Okay.
And I put on about 20 kilos in under a year.
Okay.
That was, yeah, and drinking an awful lot, eating to sort of comfort myself through the hangovers, and not enjoying the some of the working days because I was feeling rough from the weekend, just eating excessive amounts. And I stayed around that. So I peaked at about 20 stone. So 127 kilos, I think that is. Yeah, very high BMI. I think 38 or something was my BMI. What actually caused me to, well, then Ian will like this. I got these like uncontrollable hiccups. I used to hiccup, like hiccup fits of like
Okay.
sometimes sort of 20 minutes of non-stop hiccuping, and some of that they were like real sort of wheezy hiccups, like almost like a dog howling sometimes. It looked like I was taking the piss, and I was genuinely, I couldn't help it, and it was worse after drinking. It was worse after eating. So I went to the doctors. Well, I actually showed them a video that one of my friends had taken on my, because I couldn't do it on purpose. So I showed them a video of one of my friends had taken of me doing it, and so I couldn't help but laugh while showing the doctor the video, and they were like, "That's an interesting one. Never had anyone come to us with that problem before." So they did some tests, and it turned out I had fatty liver disease. So that was the sort of wake up call I needed to lose some weight. They still weren't sure what was causing the hiccups, but I just sort of lost weight, and they went away to some extent. I had the hiccups probably for over a year. The next stage of the doctors, they were going to put a camera on a wire down my stomach and have a look to see if they could see any issues with my stomach lining or something. And I just learned to live with them and didn't go back, and eventually they sort of stopped. Yeah, I probably should have gone on with it, but yeah, I was just a bit lazy, and it's not the end of the world of having. It was probably once or twice a week I'd get sort of
Right.
20 minutes of non-stop hiccuping, and it was worse after drinking, so it was just like, well, just drink less. But yeah, that was the sort of the tipping point that made me want to lose weight. So since then I've sort of successfully lost weight a couple of times, put it back on. I've never got back up to that sort of peak of 127, but I've quite been around the sort of 110 mark for a while, and that's where I am currently.
How tall are you?
5'11" and a half. No idea what that is in centimeters. 180 maybe. Yeah, so I did get down to a good weight and kept it off for over a year. I got down to 90 kilos and was sort of hovering or changing in between the 90 and 95 for a good sort of year to 2 years. So I thought I had. So I got the weight off and kept it off, and I thought, that's it, I've done it now. And then, as I mentioned last week, I came back from a holiday in Thailand and binge ate for so long that I put on a substantial amount of weight, and I haven't been able to get it off since. Yeah, any questions? Because I think that's, without
No, this
having
is
prepared
good.
anything, that's
No,
about all I
this
can
is
think of
good.
right now.
This is good. So, whether you kind of recognize it or not, here they have a saying called the freshman 15, which is usually more than that. It's usually women, but men do it too. Is where you go away to university and you gain weight. But it's really it's about the nervousness of leaving home and living on your own and stuff. And then you had another little jump up when you started working and finally moving out from your parents and stuff, and being with your parents and the working life stuff. So we'll be taking a look at that. I mean, one of the things that we work on is to try and figure out what you're self-soothing, and what might be different if you didn't have these ways to soothe yourself. Largely, it's all unconscious. There's no conscious thought like you need a beer on a Friday because you had a rough week. It's not the same, that's not what it is. It's just this unconscious soothing that you do because there's a rise in your anxiety level or what have you, and you end up using sugar just to quell it. And again, it doesn't manifest like you're thinking, I gotta have a beer, it's Friday or whatever. It manifests as a little craving for chocolate, a little craving for whatever. And you start to discover, and I can use Ian as an example, and we'll be talking about it on other shows coming up if you want to watch it. But, he found that, he played darts, he plays darts, and he's in, the organizations that require being in a pub and stuff. And that, might not be the place that that a lot of people might be, bring up a little anxiety in them. And having a crowded pub is not maybe his normal place to be or where his comfort level is. And the drinking and the food, helped him calm those feelings. And then, he started to discover that he's got to find different ways to manage it. If he wants to be in the pub, he's got to be shorter times and, different things. And he can tell you more about that later, but, or how he feels about it because he's still working on it. But that's kind of a simple example, but there's a lot of different examples, how you relate to your parents and, how you were separating, how you started to move out from your parents and these kinds of things. And look, it's really a lot of times you'll talk to somebody about weight loss or change process, and they'll be talking about a lot of different things. But our stuff is really all about how you handle your emotional life, how you handle your anxieties, your worries, your fears, and that kind of stuff, And it sounds for men very counterintuitive. It's not something we ever dealt with. Women seem to be better at it, but you're in a place where you've had the same yo-yo up and down that Taylor and Ian and 90% of the population has had, where it's 95 actually percent of the population that loses any amount of weight, gains it all back in the first year, and then some, they add some. But that's very easy to explain when you kind of get the arc of what we do and what we teach and what we're trying to figure out, what's going on with you. Once you do complete abstinence, it's like a different world almost, and there's funny things that come up, and Ian and Taylor can kind of share that with. Basically what's going on is we're going to go through a process of, when you're willing, if you're willing to start the abstinence process, there's going to be some different things come up. And the common refrain is, Mike, I'm losing my mind. And, moreover, it will manifest in that you want a beer or, some chocolate or something. But the real reason it's happening is that the neural pathways in your brain are used to getting soothing from the alcohol or the sugar, right? I did want to ask you, have you had your liver checked lately? And yeah, I mean, the fatty liver stuff is very real. And
I got it. I got it checked since I got told I had it. I got it. I lost weight. Then I checked,
right.
and they told me it got better. I can't remember what there's something you look for in the blood. They told me the levels of that had reduced.
Okay, good.
But then I
That's
put weight
good.
on again since, so it might have come back to some extent. But
Right.
I mean, I don't think it's quite a common thing. I think Ian's got it as well, or had it.
Yeah, I need to go and check to see if it's still there, to be honest. But I don't have any
But I mean,
symptoms
they
anymore.
always told me that it's something that you can completely heal from. Like you lose weight and it disappears, and so
It can be put in 100% remission, but you can't really alcohol. I mean, it's mostly an alcoholic's disease, but we have an epidemic of 5-year-olds that have fatty liver, and young children. And again, traditionally, it's always been an alcoholic's disease, but it's the sugar, the fructose in the sugar does cause it. So
I mean, this was almost like 8 years ago that I had it as well. So yeah, I'll put that on my to-do list to go get it checked. To be honest, thank you.
Yeah, go get that checked. The only real way to check
Actually,
it is biopsy, but you can do the blood test and you
no,
can.
I think I did because I had these chronic headaches, and when I had a blood test for that, and I said, "Oh, can you check my liver while you're at it?" And nothing came back. So I think I have had it checked actually.
Okay, got it. All righty. So, I mean, again, I think now in our first meeting like this, we kind of have to decide, and it's always up to you. It's not up to me, really. So, where you are and when, what you're ready for as far as the abstinence from flour and sugar and the abstinence from alcohol for a time, And I know you had some reserves, some reservations before.
So I've 100% committed to the alcohol. It's something that I've considered for years, and I've always said oh, and I'm always going to have one last try at drinking in moderation, and I've just completely had enough. I can't
Yeah.
do it. I've given up,
Okay.
and I've of course I've said, oh, I'm never drinking again on a hangover. I think everyone's said that, but I've never fully committed. I've told everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident I'm not going to fail, because I'd look
Okay.
like such an idiot.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I'm going on a stag do. I've written like an essay into the WhatsApp group telling everyone my reasons why, and then saying, please, I'm writing this so you please understand I'm committed and support me rather than peer pressure me into drinking. And all my friends have said, yeah, we're behind you, mate.
okay.
Said
Good.
that I was not happy with my life and stuff. So yeah, if I drink, if I crack and drink, I'm gonna look like a complete idiot. So pretty confident on that bit. And
Okay.
if
So,
I'm honest, that's the
okay.
main. I think that's the main thing for me. That was the reason I ate all the crap. So I'm pretty confident and pretty happy this is going to sort my life out. The no sugar, if that means I'm going to lose weight quicker, and then I'm all for it. But I mean, it's the side effects of the no sugar is not going to make me feel as bad as drinking did. So for me, giving up alcohol is the key to all my problems, and I'm so happy that I've finally done it. And I feel brilliant already, just knowing that I'm gonna just no stress in life now, because I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about coming back from a holiday hanging and not wanting to do any work for 2 weeks. Like, it's just, I'm sleeping better already. Like, just knowing I've made this decision. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Good.
any extra benefits I can get from the no sugar, perfect. But as I said, it's the main one for me. I
So, do you
feel
have
like
an
I've done it
exercise
already.
program that you like or that you do regularly?
Yeah, I got into running like 3 years ago, and I really really enjoyed it. But I ignored all advice, and I increased my mileage too quickly, and I had cheap running shoes, and I got runner's knee quite badly, which caused me to stop. I got it in both knees, so it caused me to stop. So I've been exercising for 6 months now, starting on the bike and doing a bit of rowing machine, and my knees would still hurt after it. And I tried to bring in a run. I went for 2 runs in the last 2 weeks. Just started off with like 2 kilometers on the treadmill, and there's definitely something going on with my knees. Not sure.
What's going on with your knees is the sugar. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Guarantee it. It's not, I've had many people. One woman already had a knee operation, had the other one scheduled. I said, just give me 90 days. To this day, 2.5 years later, she's never had that second knee operation. And that happens all the time. I'll try and see if I can find a picture.
It's the same with my shoulder. My shoulder needed an operation. I haven't had the symptoms like it since I've given up sugar. And when
Could
I
it not be that you've lost the weight, right? Like,
no, my shoulder, the AC joint was mangled going into my arm, and they needed to shave a bit of bone off. But ever since I've stopped sugar, I haven't had the same symptoms. It hasn't been like I can't open doors.
yeah.
It's been much better.
Ian, let me share. Let me share. I want to show you guys something. People are having a hard time understanding what this is about, so I had to get a visual here. So, can you guess which hand is older?
The one on the right, probably.
Well, the one on the right is what you meant to guess. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna guess the one. So I'm gonna guess the one on the left.
So you see the hand with the blue band on it is my brother, who is 8 years younger than I am. And you see the in his knuckles where they're larger, and that it's beginning to actually curve his fingers and to destroy his fingers. He's had colon cancer and prostate cancer. Both had to have operations to remove. And he's 8 years younger than I am. You see that my fingers are they're straight, they're perfectly straight, and they're not like disjointed, and at the ends they don't have larger knuckles where they bend. It's like especially the pinky one.
So sorry, the one on the right is you, and you're older.
Yeah, the one that's on the, I guess, bottom. The one that doesn't have the blue band is me.
Yeah, okay.
And so what I'm trying to get at here is this idea that the knees, I'm convinced 100%, like one of the main benefit for people is always that their brain came back online. They can focus better, remember better, less anxiety, sleep better. But everyone, 95, 98%, their hands and their knees stop hurting. And it really is the sugar that's decimating your joints. So you'll see.
Okay.
I would not start running right away, but I would, do.
I mean, so the current plan was to lose weight before I started running again, to just try and maintain my fitness
right.
for 6 weeks, and then maybe have another go.
What's the goal as far as weight loss, would you think?
I want a six pack.
Okay, that's fine. One of the things about six packs come from diet. That bodybuilders do their bulk up and then they're cutting, and that's from their diet. So, but how many kilos? How many kilos?
So I've been eating a lot recently because I was that convinced it was my final hangover. I wanted to go out in style, and I've pigged out for, I think, 9 days. I ate crap. So I'm scared to get on the scales, but I would guess I'm 112, something like that.
Okay.
Lowest I've ever got was 90, so 85. So
Okay.
what's that? 15. That doesn't sound that many. 27.
That's still strong, 50, 60 pounds. That's pretty big. It's pretty good.
That doesn't sound right. I thought I wanted to lose. Let me get my calculator.
Ian's already lost that.
Yeah. Let me get my calculator. Sorry. That's over 4 stone, isn't it? 27.
Right.
Yeah, it's times 6, isn't it? 4 times 6.
Yeah. 27 to 30 kilos max.
Okay, good. That's a good goal. Now remember, as we move forward, and I'm sure you have other questions, and I'll let Ian talk here for a little bit, but the exercise, you have to have something, weightlifting, even if you can't run, do aerobics, weightlifting, something, yoga, I don't care what it is.
Yeah, I'll be doing bike machine. I might have tried incline walking rather than running.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've been doing some form of exercise every week for 6 months now.
Good.
So I'm in a good spot for that.
Yeah, you won't skip a beat then. It'll start manifesting or start helping more. Remember, this is what I was going to say. It's not for burning calories. So, what we're trying to do is groove new neural pathways of self-soothing. You may have to up your time. In other words, if you're doing twice a week or 3 times a week, you might have to go 4 or 5, because you're not going to have the sugar daily or the alcohol daily to soothe you. And here's what I want you to write down. I'm not really interested in your macros or what you eat, as long as you're eating whole food. Lean towards keto or even carnivore, that's great. But I'm interested in like anxieties that come up, worries that come up, fears that come up, maybe even that you're emotional, get upset, crying or whatever, for no reason. They feel free floating. They don't feel attached to anything. And you've got to keep an eye on them. And if you feel it, call myself or put it in the group, or text Ian or Taylor or something. Because
if I get worried for no reason once I've started this,
yes,
this no sugar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're like, and sometimes it's pretty intense, sometimes it's pretty intense. You're like, you don't understand it. Like, and I'm just kind of warning. The guys both went through it pretty well, Taylor and Ian, but they had a real strong exercise plan. They got into saunas and cold plunges and stuff. So there were ways that they were mitigating their dopamine receptors and what the healing of their dopamine receptors and upping their baseline dopamine through the cold plunges. So there's a lot of different things you can do. The more the better in the early days. And as a byproduct, there probably is some efficacy to burning some calories. Guys lose weight much faster than women. And the guys are proof of it, Taylor and Ian. So what questions do you have of me? Anything?
Bad breath is a symptom, right?
That happens early. It goes away.
Cool. No, that's okay then. What was my other question? Yeah, I know this. I kept mentioning it last week. This wedding. If I did want to do it, start and then just have a cheat day and then start again, I guess. Is that
okay? So if you do it, look, here's the thing. What I'm interested in is how you feel about it. Moreover, I'm interested in trying to go with the intention of not using sugar or alcohol. But if you feel like you're thinking, I want you to write down, bring a little journal in your suit or whatever, like a little something to write on it, and say to yourself, why would I need alcohol? Like what it mostly will be for the social lubrication or if it's
no, sorry, just to confirm. So cheat in terms of the food. I'm definitely not talking about having an alcohol cheat.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier actually, I think, because one thing I want you to recognize, and these guys can attest to it, and all my folks can attest to it, is nobody's going to care at all, and no one's going to pay any attention at all. Likely it's not even unless it's a real fancy wedding where they're serving you, it's usually you go up and get your own food and you can pick what you like. But regardless, whatever your dish is, there's always a dish that you can have that doesn't have pasta or bread or dessert or the wedding cake. Go to the bathroom when the wedding cake gets delivered. Do the little tricks you learn along the way. But
I was thinking, because there would be, I can't remember what they call it, Ian. They have little plates, right, that they bring round.
Yeah.
Canapes.
Canapes, yeah. There'll definitely be some sort of meat on one of those, so I'll just get the whole plate of that.
And I would also suggest eating before you go.
Yeah.
Overeating is not a big deal. You don't want hunger to be a trigger, Eat before you go. Eat really a full meal before you go, and then use those small plates, and because you won't be able to eat every one of them, So
yeah, I did a wedding recently, and I found myself staring at desserts and stuff like this. But they brought me out like a sea bass. It was, so I ate the sea bass, but didn't eat any of the veg or anything on the side. But I didn't eat enough in the morning, and I was absolutely starving throughout the whole day and night, which then made the whole thing 10 times harder because I was just staring at food the whole time. But what I did notice is if I was going to do it again, I'd probably have eaten 10 eggs in the morning and some bacon rashers, and I would have been fine.
Yeah, I'll do that. But then I'm also thinking, because Bob wants to start just after the wedding, so I'm thinking maybe I can just sort of do 2 months now and then just eat one at the wedding and then start again.
Again,
I think when you're 2 months in, you'll find it a lot different. Your brain will be on a rhythm. You'll be going really well. Let me ask
you a question. How long of an abstinence will you have when the day of the wedding? Like where will you be in the process?
2 months.
You'll be 2 months in?
Yeah.
You won't even want to. You won't even want
I need to eat something, and
well, you won't want to use sugar or flour.
And also, if I say I don't want to text my mate and say, can I change my food?
What have you ordered?
It's Mexican.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can change
it.
But
I think it's tacos. I could just not eat the meat and a bit of sauce, and then not eat
that. You can do that.
Yeah.
again,
Well,
there's two things I want you
I
to.
don't want to. I don't want to make a fuss. Like I already feel bad enough that I'm not drinking at the wedding. I don't want to. I don't want to just make a dietary request. That's just the way. That's just the person I am.
I understand completely. And this is one thing that will change, and it changes slowly. Okay. It's not something I'm the
Yeah,
same.
no. If I'd been on a diet for a year, I would feel fine saying, "Look, can I request this, please?" But I've already told him I'm not drinking on the stag. I don't want to send him. Oh yeah, please, can I change my food requirements because I'm going to go on a
Right.
diet. I just don't feel that's. It's just not something I'm definitely not going to do.
You got a little
I'm
smile
more
going.
likely to throw the food in the like to let someone else at my table eat it, and I'll eat nothing.
Yeah,
That's a
it's,
great idea, by the way, and it's very, very okay. I would support you. Ian would support you. There, it'd be okay.
I had a darts event about the same time in my head, and I remember talking to Mike, going, "There's no way I can get through that day without food and all this sort of stuff." I had a big breakfast in the morning and didn't eat anything for the rest of the day, and there was no way I could eat at the darts. It was like fish and chips and something else. But I remember at the time it felt so much different because it was like you worry about what you've got to eat when you're starting, whereas when you're into it, you get so used to eating very like littler and littler that it's the last thing you
Yeah,
worry about. The thing you'll be worrying about is drinking sugar, like the cake and all that sort of stuff will be taking your eyes off all of that. And
yeah, and it's pretty easy to say. I genuinely feel like I'm going to be pretty good for the cravings, but it's pretty might be a bit ambitious.
Okay, again, here's the thing. You need to use it as a learning moment. You've built up a lot around it, and you need to use it as a learning moment. So if by chance you do end up having whatever, likely even the meat sauce will have too much sugar in it. But if it happens, you'll be healed pretty good after 2 months. I want you to feel how you feel that night. That
Yeah,
night.
how do you think I would feel?
I believe you'll have a little hangover the next day.
Hangover.
You'll be a
Wow.
little, yeah, you'll be a little blue. It won't be like a bad alcohol
But
hangover, but
if
it
you know what, maybe that would convince me that no sugar is the right thing for me because I did voice this concern to Ian, right? I've never gone 3 months without alcohol in my life.
okay.
It's quite well since I've been of a drinking age.
Yeah.
It's quite rare for me to go 6 weeks, right? So if I went 3 months without alcohol, eating whatever I wanted, I would feel really, really good. So it's going to be hard for me to know how much of the goodness I'm feeling is from the no alcohol and how much is from the no sugar.
Yeah,
So
you're young. You'll heal fast, and there will be a resulting trough or downturn when you re-ingest. So, if you want to do it, fine. No, look, this is not a boot camp, and my things aren't any kind of mandatory, but you have to make it count, not in the way that it just you got pleasure on your tongue, but you got to record emotionally how you feel, like, and physically, like how did it make you feel. And if you're cognizant enough and you've done some of the work coming up to it, you'll realize that you're doing it for a reason to fit in or a reason not to upset the apple cart. You'll do it for a reason that you don't really care much about anymore. It's not something that will matter to you in the long run. So always do that. Always bookend it with how you feel going in and how you feel
okay,
afterwards.
cool.
All right, man. I really appreciate this. This is great. You guys, I can't wait to get our other guy on. What's his name again? I forget.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob. Yeah, that's right. And get the
So
Taylor man back
what's the next steps and when do I start? What do I do?
yesterday, right now.
Yesterday. So I am going on a stag do tomorrow. I think it's easiest to I'll eat what I want on the stag do because it doesn't make sense to start when I'm going away. I'll just start
Okay,
with the bet. I'll
so
start
drop
Sunday.
your email in the chat.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have it yet. And I'll enter you right now. You'll get an invitation from a platform called School, SKOOL.com.
Okay.
And I will put you in a couple sets of meetings. What you want to do is you want to take the 30-day challenge. It's the first course on the left under the classroom section.
There you go.
I'll give you access to all the meetings. You can drop in on any meeting, but the first week in the challenge is prep week. Okay.
Okay.
And you don't have to do anything for that, but just watch the videos. They're about 15 or 20 minutes long. And you can watch them all at the same time if you want, but whenever you're ready to start, the cold turkey part of the process starts on day 8, and there's 30 videos in. So yeah,
Okay.
drop your email in the chat. I will
The chat on this call or
yeah, on this
WhatsApp?
call,
Okay. Don't know how to do that.
He's on his mobile.
Just
What's
hit
your
chat at the bottom.
Ian, can you do it for me?
what's your email address?
Jonty.
Yeah.
The correct spelling, not the nonsense you've come up with. _49 at
Yeah.
hotmail.com.
Is Jonty an American name? Do you get that over there, Mike?
Cumbrian
No, it's not
and
an
South
American
African.
name.
Is it hotmail.com?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, John, the community is really good. There's loads of the sessions are really good to listen on the first 30-day stuff. You can kind of binge that. I did them day by day. But if you've got any questions, you can hit the community and someone will respond with loads of advice. You'll probably get a few different angles and responses and that sort of thing. So it's good.
Wicked.
Guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to do this right now.
Cool. All right. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right, guys, take care.
Cheers, Mike. See you soon.
We've got some diet plans, health scans, sugar bans, fitness fans, PTs, injuries, laying off the Chinese, ball games, gym chains, protein gains and skin tight tops, and we ain't gonna stop until we hit the 50k. Drop, 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 drop. No excess fat, no FAT, no curry back, no guarantee. Rough or buff, lean on me. We'll end up as fit as a bear.